Welcome in, everyone. And thank you very much for the follow. Where was the name? Goldmouth. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. I hope you're all enjoying a great Sunday afternoon. And you're ready for some new tech news discussion as part of the podcast today. So, yeah, perhaps for everyone who's new, I'm doing this podcast basically every 2 weeks. So it's recorded live, like we're live now. And then there is a release in audio format on the typical podcasting platforms at 8:30 p.m. CET. So that's a time frame that I chose when I did still the video releases of the podcast when I pre-recorded them. So I stuck to the schedule, and yeah. So, let's wait for folks to come in. But yeah, we have a lot of follow-up topics from our last podcast from January 30th. And so basically, when you read the headline of today's podcast, you could actually think that I missed something, or I made a copy and paste error, but that is not the case. So the three headlining topics are definitely related. So. But let's go over the topics for today, I would say. Let me switch scenes. So, topics for today are, of course, the SteamDeck hardware reviews, and that Valve also released CAD files. The next one is the confirmation that the acquisition of ARM by NVIDIA is now officially off the table. Then also some news regarding Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Then a good news for all the Android users out there. Samsung is apparently raising the bar for Android device support, so you get longer update support for the most recent Samsung flagship devices, so that's nice. And last thing is that it seems like Apple leaked again some new things in regards to their upcoming XR headset. So we will be going through those topics. And if you want to follow along with the articles that I will be discussing when we are going into the recording phase, you can find the show notes here. So you can use the command on Twitch !show notes if you want to get the link again. And this basically leads you to the page that is currently on screen, giving you all the particular links for the different articles that I will be referencing during the podcast recording. And yeah, so let me go back here. So yeah, and for those who were watching yesterday's long streaming session, the portion for the bot coding session is back up on YouTube as well, and I still have to push the updates to the repository. So once they are on the repository, I will add the link to the video description, so everyone following along with the video and who wants to get to the source code can grab it from there. But since I finished late yesterday evening and then was working on the re-encoding of the initial development video part, it took basically the rest of the night, and I had to get prepped for the podcast today, so no time yet to get that really done. So but I hope you're enjoying a nice Sunday. It's pretty nice weather today where I'm living, so perfect weather for work, but I have to do my podcast, so I'm actually really happy that everything is working out in the way that it does, since I have to say that the wait a second, I have to check something. When I have something on my mind, it locks up. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so the podcast is now almost 1 year old, so next episode will be basically the 1 year anniversary, and that recording for that anniversary show will be next Sunday. So the first episode aired on February 20th, 2021, and we will do the live recording next Sunday on the 20th again, and so same time, same bad channel, and I want to do something different for that episode, but I am not sure yet. I almost had a interview guest lined up, but that did not come to pass because I actually overlooked the emails that came initially, and they did not get back to me, sadly. But that would have been nice to have someone in the IT industry as a guest, but that's not to say that that will not happen. So in a future episode, so I am open to that, and yeah, the episode that we will record next Sunday, it will go live as podcast in the regular interval. So it will go live on the 27th then, so a regular 2-week interval, and yeah, so but on that weekend I am not available, so I will not be doing any streaming at all during that weekend. So the last weekend of February, because I am traveling then, and yeah, since I want to keep my podcast schedule, and this lines perfectly up with the anniversary date, I thought, hey, let's do it on the 20th instead. So okay, we are 12 minutes in to the into the stream. I would say we get down to business. Let me pause the music. Let's switch scenes. And we are going to start with the episode recording with our countdown.
3, 2, 1, 0.
And welcome to my technology podcast. This is episode number 12, and we are almost 1 year in with the podcast. And so that next episode will be our 1 year anniversary episode. It will be recorded basically exactly 1 year after the initial episode of February 20th, 2021. So quite a milestone, and I hope everyone is enjoying the bi-weekly episodes. And I have to say, it's working out pretty well with the topic and news coverage that I'm doing since starting this format back in November. So we are also doing this format of the podcast now for almost exactly 3 months. Let me take you over to the screen sharing, and we can actually check that. So this is my blog, and for everyone listening to this in audio format, you can find that at bnonet.com. So you see all the latest stories. And here we have our episodes archive. And if I go back, so episode 11 was the one from January 30th. Episode 10. So episode 6 was the first one in the new format. And that was on November 14th. So basically, since today is February 13th, we're doing this format now for 3 months. So I am pretty happy about that, I have to say. And I want to keep the pace. So let's get right into today's topics that I want to be discussing with you. So the topics for today are the release of the various hardware reviews of the SteamDeck that hit last Monday. Then the verification of the deal of NVIDIA acquiring ARM not coming to pass officially. Then some news regarding the acquisition from of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. Then some news in regards to increased Android update support for Samsung flagship devices, and some new information based on source code leaks on Apple's AR XR headset. And let's dive right in. Welcome in, Alexis, on YouTube. So for everyone listening to this in the audio version, this stream is or this podcast is recorded live. So it might be that in between you will hear me shout out someone who's just joining. So welcome in, and let's dive right in. So the article that you see here now is basically just a reference, because I'm not going to show you all the various reviews from the Steam Deck that hit this week, because there were plenty. I think 3 tech YouTubers got the chance to do hardware reviews of the Steam Deck. The main ones, of course, were Linus Tech Tips and Gamers Nexus, and I think they released overall, I think over 4 or 5 videos between both of them, and so the coverage there is very comprehensive. And if you're interested in seeing all the details, it is definitely worth checking those videos out. What I have on screen here right now is the announcement from Valve for the availability of CAD files. That update dropped, I think, on Wednesday, if I remember correctly. Oh, no, it dropped on Friday. Missed the timestamp here. So it dropped on Friday, and so basically manufacturers of cases and so on, or even the maker community, are now able to create their own cases, accessories, and so on, which is really nice. So that Valve is making this publicly available. I did not know that Valve actually did that also for the Index and also the Steam controller. So really nice move. And when you check the coverage that Linus Tech Tips did for the Stream Deck, you can already see that dbrand is already working on a case, and those guys have quite some humor, because their case project for the Steam Deck is called Project Kill Switch. So this is pretty hilarious. And yeah, overall the feedback from Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech Tips on the Steam Deck was very, very positive. So basically fueling the hype. And a lot of people are really anticipating the release of the Steam Deck on the 25th. So let's hope that Valve has production covered that well that they can push out the Steam Decks in good numbers, so that perhaps the wait, for especially for those people who might be in later queue slots, don't have to wait until Q3 or even Q4 of this year. So we discussed that last time, that that the wait times, basically due to the chip shortage, have been pushed back quite a bit, and let's hope that Valve can catch up a bit in regards to supplies, and people get their decks in hand quickly. And yeah, as soon as I get mine in hand, I will definitely also do my own take on it, especially with my special perspective as someone who is visually impaired. So you can look forward to some coverage on that as well. Don't know if I will do it on stream, but it will at least be a video on YouTube. So yeah, I think if you want to know all the nitty-gritty details, I would say check out the videos. They are pretty detailed. Linus Tech Tips did a tear down. Gamers Nexus did thermal analysis of the Steam Deck and so on. So everything pretty comprehensive, and it is actually impressive. Linus Tech Tips was actually showing Forza Horizon 5, which is a Microsoft game title working on the Stream Deck, and except for some rubber banding effect, which seems to be case dependent normal because of network latency and so on. The game seems to be running fine on the Steam Deck, and that is impressive, I have to say. Since if you don't know it, the Steam Deck is running Linux, so it's using an emulation layer called Proton to make Windows games work. And there was a post on the official Steam Deck Twitter. Let me quickly check if I can find that. Wait a sec. Because they basically announced how many games are already supported on the deck officially, and because there are now 2 tiers for these, playable on deck and verified on deck. And let me see if I can find that real quick. Wait. I know dead air is a bit bad, but I want to give you some up-to-date info. Or wasn't it a tweet from the deck account? Yeah, okay, no, it was not that account. So I can't find it right away. So sorry about that. But it was over 400 titles that already had that particular stamp of approval, basically. Let me just check. Well, verified Steam Deck. Perhaps I can find it via Google quickly. Do they have it here on that page already listed? No. Okay, yeah, nevertheless, let's continue with the next topic, which is that announcement that NVIDIA and ARM are not going to go forward with the merger. So the pressure from the regulatory bodies was basically too great, because there were investigations started in the US, UK, and even on the European Union level. And as you can see here on the article from Forbes that I have up, they mutually agreed that they were going to walk away from the acquisition, and ARM is going to go for an IPO within SoftBank's fiscal year, which ends in March 2023. So ARM gets basically really independent and gets a lot of fresh money for fresh R&D, and I found it pretty funny that ARM is Forbes is here saying that ARM is actually very profitable when you think about the situation with ARM chips. Basically, all our all our phones all our phones have ARM chips in them. So, and even I am recording this on an ARM machine actually, because I am hosting my streams via an M1 Mac, and that's of course ARM based, and it's doing a great job with this. And yeah, so ARM has a huge future ahead of itself, and the rise of the ARM architecture in the past 20 years is pretty impressive, and that it's now competing with high performance x86 chips is really impressive, and combined with with its energy efficiency, this is just amazing. And I am looking forward to what ARM is coming up with, and what chip manufacturers like Qualcomm or Apple, or even also AMD, because there was a rumor that AMD is working on a ARM-based SoC as well. So it will be interesting to see. Well, the question is if this is the that reference was towards the Exynos project that they have going with Samsung, because they were working on a Exynos SoC from Samsung with Radeon graphics integrated. I actually forgot to check up on that, because I think there was to be to have an announcement on that as part of the Samsung event. But now that I think about it, when I checked a review of the new Samsung phones, they were not boasting Radeon graphics, so I have to check up on that. But basically, this acquisition is now officially off the table, and of course, the IPO story for ARM is something that I will be, of course, following, because this is a huge thing in the technology industry, especially also who is going to acquire shares, because yeah, doing an IPO makes you also vulnerable, man, vulnerable. And because you have to take into account that you are making yourself available for hostile takeovers, and if one big entity just buys your shares, of course there will be also regulatory approval, but it could happen. It's not out of the question. So when you make yourself publicly available, so my hope is that ARM is going to be owned by a very broad spectrum of companies and people, and that they will then have a proper foundation to continue their work on great architectures and making them available to the broad IT industry. So that would be my hopes for ARM's future. So staying independent would be the best for ARM, and also the best for the industry, in my personal opinion. Because they are basically a provider of the IP, and they are not manufacturers of chips themselves, and therefore being independent, offering basically the concepts to their partners is a good business, as we can already see. Okay, so that's that update, and then we can go to the other acquisition story that we have. And this is now that Microsoft, as part of the acquisition plans of Activision Blizzard, is already saying that they keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. And this is, of course, a high profile pledge. And this is, of course, a big play that they are trying to appease the FTC, so the Federal Trade Commission in the US, in regards to allowing the merger to complete, because there is a high risk that Microsoft is just going to pull everything from the other stores and just keeps it as exclusives on the Xbox/Windows store, and therefore limiting the access to these applications and robbing competing platforms like the PlayStation from major selling titles. The Call of Duty franchise, in case someone is not familiar with that, highly doubt it. It's basically a ego shooter, military game where you and they have been out for ages, and they are one of the best-selling series, of all the time. Basically, they started with initially with World War I and World War II games. Or was it just World War II? I don't remember anymore. It's so long ago. And now they span various eras, and there are new releases each year, and they are normally one of the highly anticipated games, and they are played everywhere: PC, Xbox, and of course PlayStation. And the fear, of course, here is that Microsoft will be pulling it, but as we can already see, when Microsoft acquired Bethesda and ZeniMax, they did not pull those games from the other stores. You can still get them there, and even Microsoft themselves are selling their games through Steam, and I don't think that it will change. It might be that even to fit in the strategy, Microsoft would be making available the Blizzard and Activision exclusive titles that were basically primarily run through the Blizzard Battle.net client, available again on other stores. That would make them accessible to more audiences, because you don't want to install every single launcher, and that makes it easy. So Microsoft can use so many channels to make money with those games, and for those following along on the audio side, the article that I've put up right now is from Engadget. And if you want to get the links to all the articles, head over to my blog, BNOnet.com, or you can have you will find the show notes in the video or podcast description, so you can get to the articles that I'm discussing here. I actually forgot that plug earlier, so sorry for that. Yeah, let's see what happens with this, if this really appeases the FTC, and we can go to the next topic. This is also an article from Engadget that Samsung is increasing the time that they are going to support Android releases and Android updates for their flagship phones. So for the Galaxy S22, which basically just was revealed this week, the S21 and the Tab S8 and other recent models, like it's stated here, Samsung is going to offer 4 years of support in regards to software updates. And that is a major step up. And this situation for Android has gotten better throughout the last few years. And that's actually the reason why I am discussing this topic here, because this is something important in the current day and age that we have to discuss, since long-term software compatibility makes your devices usable and relevant longer, and especially now. I don't remember who discussed that recently. It was another YouTuber who discussed that. I don't remember who that was, but basically, since the iPhone generation from 2017, so the iPhone 10, iPhone 8, and I think it was also parallel the S8, which was the current generation. Basically, every flagship phone that has been released since then is fine to use as a daily driver until today. And this is now 4.5, almost 5 years of lifetime for these devices, and getting the newest features is really making them and keeping them relevant and keeping those phones out of the landfills. Tying this back into the topic of right to repair, replacing the battery in an older phone like this should be as easy as possible, so that you can prolong the life of the device and keep it out of a landfill and just recycle the battery and keep it in use longer. Apple actually has done a good job with that software support to keep iPhones going. I don't think that I ever used a iPhone till it was no longer usable for me. I always ended up selling it when I moved up to the next generation, and for a long time that was not the case for Android, because a few years ago, even the flagship phones, they got 1 or 2 years at best in software support. And if you wanted to use the newest features, the newest emojis or whatsoever, what's currently hip on the smartphone market, you were out of luck. And now, I think since 2 or 3 years, manufacturers have started to raise that bar to 2 years and then to 3 years, and now Samsung is coming around to go to 4 years, and this is a good step. And it's not yet on the level like Apple does it with I think the oldest supported iPhone is still the 6S, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. It's either the 6S or the iPhone 7. But the iPhone 7 is still from 2016. It's a 6-year-old phone. So even if you bought that phone, you're still fine. My And even if you're running one iOS version older, I think my parents, they're on iPhone 6, and right, my father is on iPhone 7, I think. They don't have any issues. They are still doing everything in the ecosystem just fine, and that is amazing, to keep those devices around for such a long time. And having software support that long should not be an outlier. That should be the norm. It's hard, of course, because you have to support more devices, but for our planet, it will be a better thing, since we can use the devices longer. People will be satisfied with the devices longer. And if we can get our act together with Right to Repair, then we would have the perfect situation. But we have a way to go on that, sadly. And speaking of Apple, there have been some interesting leaks due to mentions in source code. So, according to well-known Apple leaker Ming-Chi Kuo, there have been leaks of references to a new operating system from Apple called Reality OS, which is supposed to be the OS that will be running on Apple's upcoming XR headset. And according to this article here, I actually have not seen those direct discussed anywhere else till now. They are this headset is rumored to feature two chips which are similar to the M1, and that is a lot of computing power in a headset. So it will be really interesting to see what this headset is capable of. And so seeing now references to an actual OS name in pop up in source code is giving me the hint that there might be something coming up pretty soon. Apple is rumored to release perhaps a headset this year or next year or 2024 at the latest, and perhaps we're already getting a sneak peek at their worldwide developer conference this year, which is going to be probably in the first week of June again, as it normally is. So that would be a perfect opportunity to basically showcase the device and get developers on board for probably a release next year, so people have time to work on it, and they might be releasing a developer version of the headset so that developers can actually test on it, since this is the first product of its kind in the Apple space. Another thing that speaks to that, so this article that I have up right now is on Mac Rumors, and now we're going to an article on Road to VR, because they found references to WebXR support in the latest iOS beta of Safari, which is Apple's browser. And it looks like Apple gets ready for overall support of extended reality. And all this together, references occurring in source code, getting beta support for XR in Safari, that's telling me actually a lot in regards to what is coming up down the pipe. And as a long-term Apple user myself, 2022 is looking to be a very interesting year for Apple users and fans, because latest reports are that we will probably be seeing 4 new devices with the updated M2 chip from Apple, so the successor to the M1, which was launched at the end of 2020. And then we're also awaiting the still M1 based large iMac, so the professional iMac and the Mac Pro, which would both be due till the mid of the year, to make Apple's promise of concluding the Apple Silicon transition within 2 years. So they made that announcement at WWDC, so the Worldwide Developer Conference, back in 2020. And basically, they would then, within 2 years, have concluded this transition. And there are already rumors flying around for an Apple event in March to kick off Apple event season. And let's see what is coming up there. So will be really interesting to see. And if Apple is going to charge 2,000 euros for this headset, for this XR headset, this has to be a banger. And basically looking at those specs here with dual M1 chips, that thing will have some performance for something that you just attach to your head. And yeah, it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see what this thing looks like. I don't or let me rephrase this, that I hope that it will not have a wobbly strap like the one that they're showing here, which would be like the strap for the that's basic strap for the Quest. And especially if you want to do longer sessions, those straps are just uncomfortable. And I hope Apple comes up with a better system, and or at least the option to have either or. Because if it's will be a portable solution that you're carrying with you, then of course a rubber strap like the one showing here makes a lot more sense. And yeah, to remind you, everyone who is listening to this in audio format, you can get the links to the articles, so you can see the images I'm talking about on my blog at bnonet.com, or you will find the link to the show notes in the description of the episode. Yeah, and this basically concludes our topics for today. So we have episode 12 in the books. And yeah, I want to invite everyone to the anniversary episode recording / stream on the 20th, so February 20th, 2022, 2 p.m. CET. So I will start at the same time as today. And let's have a discussion about tech, and let's see where we're going. I'm still thinking of doing something special for that episode, but I am not sure yet. And for everyone listening in podcast format right now, you will be hearing that special episode on the 27th. So I'm not changing the podcast upload schedule. So thank you very much for watching and listening, and see you at the next episode. So that concludes the recording part. I hope you enjoyed the topics that we discussed today. Let me actually get back to chat. Yeah, thank you to Xas for hosting the stream today, and also welcome in. So yeah, quite interesting tech season already early in the year, with all the acquisitions and stuff happening. So it will be interesting to see what happens this year. And if you guys have suggestions what we could do special next Sunday at the anniversary stream, feel free to suggest either on chat right now, or leave a comment on the YouTube version when it's basically the recording. And of course there are also the options of leaving a comment on my blog, or sending an email to our listeners mailbox. I think that was the comment mail. Yeah, so there you got the email address to send in some suggestions. I am actually now properly monitoring that mailbox, so nothing gets lost anymore, like it did for me with the potential guest contact that came in December, where I wasn't monitoring that mailbox. And yeah, so let's see how everything goes. So yeah, I can actually now open the floor for chat or questions, discussions. Feel free to hit me up. So yeah, and the podcast recording again will be available today at 8:30 p.m. via the normal channels, so Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, of course, because they are my means of syndication. And yeah, and I will also be uploading the video version to Odyssey again. And of course, the recording of the whole session today will be on YouTube, and it is also syndicated to Rumble at a later point. So that's where you can grab all the episodes. If you want to look at earlier episodes, you can, of course, check out my blog and get everything from there. Yeah, so So, if there are no questions or discussion topics that you guys want to jump in with, I would say we are going to close it for today. I will prepare the recording for tonight's release. And yeah, as I said, if you want to have some input in regards to what's going to happen next week on the anniversary stream, feel free to hit me up. Yeah, of course, you can also reach me via Twitter. That's also a good means to get a hold of me. I'm open for suggestions, and then we will have a nice episode next week, probably with some news updates, but probably not as many as we had the past times, because yeah, we're only going to cover events of 1 week, not of 2 weeks, and yeah, so I would say we are going, since I don't see anything coming in regards to comments, questions, I would say that we're going to close it for today. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in, for watching. I hope you enjoyed the topics that I brought to you today, and I hope to see you next time. In regards to my overall streaming schedule, next stream will be on Tuesday, which will be my Beat Saber session again at 5 p.m. CET. And yeah, so of course the next one then will be on Friday, also Beat Saber, same time, so 5 p.m. CET. And on Sunday we will have the anniversary episode recording live stream. So if you want to join in on either of these occasions, I would highly appreciate it. And yeah, again, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice rest of the Sunday and a good start into the next week. Bye, everyone.